The fabric is wet and smells like mildew. I'm washing old pillowcases in the kitchen because the basement's a pain to reach, and we moved the machine upstairs so everything's close. The linen slip from my lap, bunching and curling on the floor like twisted rope. I get angry because the basket isn't where I left it, and bending forward hurts. The muscles in my back and thigh pull like wires being stretched to snap. He bursts in too fast. Towel slung over one shoulder, shirt damp with water. He says the shower's leaking, and before he finishes the sentence, he stumbles over the laundry basket. I nudge it aside with my foot. He steps onto my blanket, and it happens. One moment. One movement. His hand reaches forward to catch the machine. Mine reaches for the counter, and we crash together. His mouth brushing the corner of mine so quick and close I freeze. He pulls back, and for a full second the air holds still. I hear his breath breaking fast, like he ran up 2 flights. His eyes are locked on mine, and there's something in his stare that doesn't move. He says, "Sorry," and I say nothing. Because if I speak, I'll hear my voice, and that's worse than silence. He leaves quickly without looking back. I sit there with a damp sheet on my lap, and I can't breathe. Not because it hurts, not because I'm afraid. My chest just doesn't expand. My lips remember the contact. It was cold, accidental, practically nothing, but still something flutters in my ribcage. Why is my heart acting like it wanted that to happen? I laugh out loud, but my voice sounds hoarse, too dry. An hour later, I try calling my husband. 5 rings, voicemail. I text him. "Are you calling tonight?" No answer. Evening falls too fast, like the sun's trying to disappear before anything else goes wrong. He doesn't come out of his room, and that's not normal. After a shower, he usually makes tea or a sandwich or plays a podcast on his phone. Tonight, nothing. I listen to the fridge hum and the creak of floorboards, then nothing else. No footsteps, no doors. Just the light under his door turning off like the end of a scene. I roll into the living room, grab a book, pretend to read. My eyes track the words, but my mind's caught somewhere else. His lips, his breath. The way his hand grabbed the edge of the washing machine. It meant nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just stress, clumsiness, muscle memory. We were both tense. We were both, but we're not both. I'm his mother. That's the only truth. Everything else is nerves, hormones, cabin fever, imagination. Everything except the fact. He comes into the living room 2 hours later. Doesn't look at me. Wears a hoodie with the hood up, hair still damp. He sets a mug on the table and opens a bag of dry pasta. "You hungry?" he asks, voice low. I nod without meeting his eyes. Because if I do, I'll replay that moment. The closeness, the breath, the mistake. He puts the bowl in front of me, steps away, sits on the windowsill. Doesn't talk? Doesn't eat. That's somehow worse than anything else. I barely finish eating. Later, I ask him to help with my leg. The muscles have been cramping again. He kneels down, slowly lifts the blanket. His hands are cool, his movements practiced. He touches just above the knee, working into the tightness like he has 100 times before. I breathe through my nose because every pass of his fingers feels too close, too careful. He says nothing. His expression is calm. He's not doing anything wrong. But I'm not the same woman he massaged last year. And he's not the same boy. He's broad, steady, smells like mint and wood. His breath touches my skin. My insides tighten. I inhale and exhale as evenly as I can. His palm pauses just a little longer near my hip. I keep my eyes on the ceiling. Count the stains. He pulls away, finishes. "Better?" he asks. I nod. Not because it is, but because I don't know what else to say. He goes back to his room. I stay. The lights are off. The silence crawls up the walls, only the soft click of the kitchen fan in the distance. I'm not scared of what happened. I'm scared of what didn't. Because I'm waiting, and I don't even know for what. And that's the part that terrifies me most. Tell me honestly, Haven't you ever wondered what would happen if things didn't go the way they were supposed to? Morning light leaks through the blinds like an apology. The air is still, heavy with the smell of detergent from last night. I don't sleep much anymore. My body refuses to let go completely. Every few hours, I jolt awake, certain something's wrong. And now something might be. I sit at the edge of the bed with the blanket still bunched at my knees, staring at the floor like the answers are hiding in the grain of the wood. I hear his footsteps before he knocks. He doesn't wait for a reply. He opens the door with his head turned away like he's giving me privacy, even as he walks in. "Your leg again?" he asks. I nod without looking up. He sets the heating pad on the dresser, moves the blanket aside with the same care he's always used. But today his hands hesitate for a breath too long before touching me. His fingers work the muscle in steady pressure, slow and focused. Nothing improper. Nothing that could be misread. At least not if someone else were watching. But there's no one else. Just us. Just the quiet sound of breath and skin and nerves that won't stop speaking even when we do. I bite the inside of my cheek when he finds a knot along the back of my thigh. His thumb presses in, not too hard, just enough to wake something deeper than pain. "You're tighter than usual," he says. I nod again. "Did you stretch yesterday?" I lie. "Yes." He knows I'm lying, but he doesn't push. He shifts closer, kneeling now instead of sitting. His arm brushes my side as he reaches for my other leg. I let him. I tell myself it's because I need this. I tell myself it's routine. We've done this before, but it doesn't feel the same now. It feels like every second stretches further than the last, like I'm holding my breath without meaning to. I glance down and see the furrow in his brow, the way he watches the muscle respond beneath my skin. His fingers don't shake, but they slow. He moves one hand to the edge of my shorts, lifting them just enough to reach the top of my thigh. I inhale sharply. He stops. "Is this okay?" he asks quietly. I nod. Then I shake my head. I don't even know what I mean. He sits back on his heels and wipes his hands on his jeans like he's waking from a dream. "Sorry," he mutters. "I wasn't thinking." But that's not true. We're both thinking too much. That's the problem. Later, I sit alone in the kitchen staring at my untouched toast. My phone buzzes. A message from my husband. "Stuck on site. Late again. Don't wait up." I want to be angry, but there's no room for anger left in me. Just silence and weight and a pressure under my skin I can't name. I delete the message without answering. He walks in while I'm still sitting there and pours coffee like it's just another morning. I thank him without making eye contact. He asks if I want to go outside for a bit. I nod. It's cold on the patio, but I don't mind. I need the air. He rolls me outside and sits on the step beside me, legs stretched, mug in hand. We don't speak for a while. A squirrel scampers across the fence and he watches it like it matters. Then he says, "Do you think he knows?" The question hangs between us like a trickwire. "Knows what?" I ask. He doesn't answer. I glance over. His eyes are distant, his jaw tight. The line of his throat moves when he swallows. That's when I realize how often I study his face now. Not like a mother. Not anymore. When did that change? Or was it always there, quiet and waiting? He stands up and brushes off his jeans. "I'm heading to the store. Need anything?" I shake my head. He doesn't kiss my forehead like he used to. He hesitates, then just nods and walks away. Inside, the house feels too still. The kind of stillness that makes you listen for things that aren't there. I wheel into the bathroom, look at myself in the mirror. My skin looks pale and too tight. I trace the edge of my mouth with my finger and remember the warmth of his hand. Not where it landed, where it lingered. That night, I hear him pacing in his room. 3 steps. Floorboard creaks, turn, repeat. I don't sleep. I stare at the ceiling and think about that moment earlier. His hand just under the fabric. The way my body didn't resist. The way his breath caught when I said nothing. Maybe nothing is louder than a word sometimes. Maybe silence is the start of everything we pretend not to want. The weather turns that Friday without warning. The sky hangs low and heavy, the kind that presses against the windows like it's trying to come inside. I hear the truck in the driveway and my chest tightens. I don't know if it's dread or guilt or something I'm not ready to name. I fix my hair in the hall mirror, something I haven't done in weeks. Put on jeans that take forever to pull up. Find a soft sweater that hides more than it reveals. I check the door twice before unlocking it. He comes in with his usual half smile, bags under his eyes deeper than last time. His hug is quick. One arm, one breath, one step back. He asks how the week was. I say fine. He asks about the leg. I lie. Better. He sets his duffel down near the coat rack, shrugs off his jacket, asks what's for dinner. I tell him leftovers. He nods and disappears into the bathroom. I hear the water run and I sit very still in the kitchen with my hands wrapped around a lukewarm cup of tea. Every sound feels louder. The pipes, the fan, my own breathing. He comes back 10 minutes later with damp hair and fresh clothes. He smells like soap and exhaustion. At dinner, we eat in silence. He scrolls through his phone between bites. I stare at the pattern on the placemat, tracing lines with my finger like they mean something. He finishes first and clears the table without asking. When I thank him, he just grunts. That used to mean you're welcome. Now it just means noise. Later, he joins me in the living room. I'm already under a blanket, pretending to watch the news. He sits beside me, but not too close. His knee points away. His arms stay crossed. When the commercial break comes, he reaches for the remote and turns the volume down. Then he looks at me for the first time since he walked in. Really looks. You okay? He asks. I nod. He waits. You look pale, he says. I say I've been inside too much. He says he misses me. His hand finds my arm. Warm, familiar, expected. He leans in, slowly, like he's testing the air. His lips touch mine. Dry, gentle, careful. I let him. I even try to meet him halfway. Try to remember what that used to feel like. Connection, comfort, warmth. But it doesn't come. There's no rush in my chest. No flicker in my stomach. Just the awareness that someone else touched my mouth more recently and I didn't pull away. He pulls back, searching my face like it holds the answer. You're somewhere else, he says. I tell him I'm tired. He nods, says he understands, but I don't think he does. I don't think either of us does. He kisses my forehead and stands, says he's going to bed early. I say goodnight and listen to his footsteps up the stairs like they belong to a stranger. The house gets quiet again, the kind of quiet that feels sharp. He's upstairs, I'm down here. In between, there's just air and walls and questions we stopped asking a long time ago. I turn off the TV and stare at the black screen. My reflection stares back. I look tired. I look old. I look like someone waiting to be somewhere else. I don't hear him come in at first. But then he's there, just inside the archway, barefoot, holding a folded blanket. You looked cold, he says. I don't answer. He steps closer, drapes it over my legs. His hand brushes my knee. I flinch and cover it with a smile. He says nothing. He sits on the floor beside the couch, back resting against it, arms wrapped around his knees like he used to do when he was little. We sit in silence. The lights from the neighbor's window cast moving shadows on the wall. His head leans back and touches my side. Light, hesitant but not accidental. He says, You kissed him like you meant it. I freeze. I want to ask what he means, but I know. I saw it. He adds, Not last week, last year, when he surprised you on your birthday. In the kitchen. You kissed him and you didn't know I saw. I try to remember. I can't. That was a real kiss, he says. Not like the ones you give me. I feel heat in my throat. Not shame, not anger, just something close to grief. Why didn't you say anything? I ask. He shrugs. I wanted to believe it didn't mean anything. He turns his head slightly, enough that his cheek presses against the fabric of my sweater. I stopped believing that a long time ago. He doesn't say more. I don't either. We sit like that until the hallway light turns off upstairs. A quiet click. Then silence. My chest tightens with each breath. My arms don't move. My lips feel like they still belong to someone else. Have you ever kissed someone and realized afterward it was the lie that ruined you? Not the act itself? He leaves early Sunday morning. The door shuts with that soft finality he doesn't realize he carries. I hear the truck back out of the driveway and don't move for a long time. The house feels cleaner when he's not here. Less watched, less measured. I breathe without thinking about how it sounds. Still, the air is heavy, like it knows something it isn't saying. The blinds rattle in the breeze, and I finally open the back door to let in real air. I sit on the patio in the sun and close my eyes until the warmth softens my shoulders. I almost forget that yesterday happened. Almost. He walks outside carrying a plate, toast and sliced fruit. He sets it down beside me without a word and leans on the railing. I thank him and take a bite even though I'm not hungry. He doesn't ask questions. He just stays close enough to hear my breathing and not close enough to touch it. Later, I wheel into the hallway and pause outside his door. It's half open and the room is dark except for the glow of his laptop. I hear soft music playing. No words, just slow, drawn-out chords like something waiting to break. I think about saying something and don't. That night it rains. Not a storm. Just enough to make the windows feel colder than they should be. He's on the couch watching a movie, and I pass behind him on my way to the kitchen. I ask if he wants anything. He says no. I pour myself water and lean against the counter because standing hurts today and I don't want to say that out loud. He comes in after a few minutes, doesn't look at me, opens the fridge and stares at it like it will answer a question. Then he closes it without taking anything and turns to leave. But just before he does, he stops. His hand brushes mine. Intentional or not, I can't tell. My skin tightens instantly. He doesn't apologize. Back in the living room, he starts the movie again. I return to my chair and sit across from him. He looks over at me once but doesn't speak. At one point, his fingers drum against his leg with no rhythm. Then they stop. I heard you crying last night, he says. I don't answer. Was it the pain again? I nod because it's the easiest lie. His eyes flick to the floor, then back to me. You know you can wake me, he adds. Anytime. His voice is steady but quiet, like he doesn't want to hear himself say it. Before bed, I check the locks on the doors twice. Not out of fear, out of habit. Or maybe because part of me wants to know something still works the way it's supposed to. I brush my teeth and change slowly, wincing when my knee gives out a little. I sit on the edge of the mattress and stretch my legs, counting backward from 10 to steady the ache. There's a knock, a soft one. He opens the door before I answer and steps inside with the blanket I forgot in the living room. He doesn't speak. He drapes it across my lap like it's nothing. I say thank you. He kneels, fixes the corner where it caught on the wheel. His hand pauses just above my ankle. His thumb brushes skin. He doesn't pull back. I remember when you fell off the porch, he says suddenly. 2 summers ago. You swore you were fine, but your ankle swelled up like a grapefruit. I carried you inside and you wouldn't stop cursing. I laugh because it's true. You made me cry, he adds. You didn't see it, but I was so scared. I feel that same fear now. Different shape, different weight. Still fear. He moves closer. His eyes search my face like he's waiting for something. His fingers press gently into the blanket over my shin, and I don't stop him. He leans in so slowly I could end it with one word. I don't say it. His lips touch my cheek. Just a second. Nothing more. But it isn't a mistake this time. I feel the breath behind it. The decision, the asking. I exhale. What does it mean if I wanted it just for that 1 second? He starts to move away and I grab his hand. Hold it tight. He looks at me like I've broken something. I shake my head. Stay, I whisper. He nods. We don't say more. We sit there with our hands locked between us and our eyes turned toward the same dark window where nothing moves. The sound of rain is the only thing left between us. The sky turns that deep steel color that comes before a hard rain. It's late, almost midnight, and the power's been out for 2 hours. I light 2 candles in the living room. One on the coffee table, one on the shelf by the front window. The flickering makes shadows crawl across the wall, long and slow and too quiet. The house feels smaller without electricity. The walls feel closer. The air feels too warm. He's sitting on the couch when I roll in, blanket already draped across his lap. He looks over and lifts the corner. I hesitate. He pats the spot beside him and waits. I move slowly. The wheels creak against the floor. He helps me ease down beside him and pulls the blanket over both of us. My shoulder brushes his. His leg is warm against mine. We don't speak. The room breathes for us. Somewhere in the distance, the wind pushes a tree branch across the roof. A slow scrape that repeats once, then again. My muscles are tight from the weight of the day. My hands stay folded in my lap. His are flat against his thighs, steady, unmoving. He turns to me after a while. His eyes look darker in candlelight. Are you cold? He asks. I shake my head. Liar, he says softly. Then he shifts his arm around my back and pulls me closer. I don't stop him. The heat of his chest moves through the fabric. I feel his breath near my ear. He says, "This feels right." I close my eyes. Don't say that, I whisper. Why not? He asks. Because it makes it real. He lifts his hand and touches my chin. Gently, like he's asking permission. His thumb brushes the corner of my mouth. I don't lean away. I don't lean in either. He waits. Then I turn my head, just slightly, and that's all it takes. The kiss is quiet, warm, not hungry, not rough, just real. He cups my jaw with one hand, rests the other on my shoulder. His lips move over mine like he already knows the rhythm. My pulse trips and everything slows. The room disappears. Only breath and skin and closeness. We pull apart, but not far. My eyes stay closed. His forehead touches mine. I can hear his heartbeat. Or maybe it's mine. His fingers trail down my arm and back up again. We don't speak. We don't need to. The door opens. The air shifts before the sound registers. The front door creaks, the handle clicks, the wind pulls at the frame. And there he is, standing in the entryway. My husband. His coat still on, suitcase in hand, keys dangling from his fingers. He stares at us, at the blanket, at our bodies, at our faces inches apart. No one moves. He sets the suitcase down slowly, like any sudden motion might break something. His eyes don't blink. His face doesn't change. He looks at me, then at him, then back at me. His mouth opens, then shuts. He walks into the kitchen and turns on the flashlight on his phone. The beam cuts across the cabinets. Then silence. I push the blanket off and try to rise. My legs protest. He watches me struggle but doesn't help, just stands there with the light still on. He says, I forgot my charger. I nod, lips numb. I'll be out of your way in a minute, he adds. Then he disappears down the hall. We sit frozen, still close, still warm, still guilty. When he comes back, the light catches our faces. His eyes pause for a second too long. You should have locked the door, he says. Then he walks out. The sound of his truck pulling away is louder than it should be. Tires against gravel, engine down the street. Then gone. Neither of us speaks. The candles burn lower. The room feels heavier than it ever has. I look at him. His face is pale. His jaw is tight. His hands stay balled in his lap. I whisper. He knows. He nods. I know. We don't touch. Not now. The moment passed with the sound of keys hitting the counter. Why didn't I stop this before it went too far? Is the worst kind of betrayal the one that hurts the betrayer too? The morning light feels wrong. It shouldn't be this soft. It shouldn't make the walls look this calm. There should be thunder, police, screaming. Instead, there's birdsong and a half-full cup of coffee from last night still on the table. He's gone. Not the boy. The man I married. The man who stood in the doorway and saw more than any person should ever have to see. He didn't yell. He didn't cry. That silence will stay with me longer than any slap ever could have. I sit at the edge of the bed, pulling the blanket tight around my knees. My hands don't stop shaking. My leg spasms once. Then again. But I don't call for help. I let it twist and burn and settle on its own. He knocks. The boy. The man with my features in reverse. His voice is quiet. Can I come in? I say nothing, but the door opens anyway. He enters like a shadow, careful not to make noise he doesn't have to. I look at him and feel nothing at first. Then too much. He sits in the chair across from me. Doesn't reach for my hand. Doesn't smile. I didn't mean for it to go that far, he says. I nod. But it did, I answer. We stare at the wall, at the space between us, at the rug, at everything except each other. He says, he's not coming back. I don't argue. I say, I know. I want to say more. Something human, something motherly. But there's nothing left. No instinct. Just the echo of what used to be love. Or what passed for it. Later, I wheel into the kitchen and see the note. Folded, sitting by the fruit bowl. My name in his handwriting. 2 lines. You crossed a line I can't follow. I hope you understand what that means. I read it twice. 3 times. I don't cry. I take it to the bedroom and slide it into the drawer where my wedding photos used to be. I threw those away a year ago and told myself it was for space. It wasn't. The neighbors don't come by. Nobody rings the bell. The phone rings twice that day. Once a robocall. Once someone asking for a donation. I don't answer either. He stays quiet. We don't speak again for 2 days. He cooks, I eat. He folds laundry. I watch. We move around each other like tenants in a house no one wants to admit is burning down. I get an email from my husband's lawyer on Thursday. The subject line reads, preliminary notice. I don't open it. Not because I don't care, but because I already know what it says. Divorce, severance, custody disclaimers, property terms, the final steps of a life cut in half. That evening, I find him, the boy who became something else, sitting on the porch steps with his back to the door. He's barefoot, shoulders hunched, staring at nothing. I step outside, wheels humming quietly behind me. I'm leaving, I say. He nods. I figured. I wait. He doesn't ask where, or for how long. He just says, do you need help packing? I shake my head. No. He stands anyway. We don't speak as he helps lift the suitcase down the front steps. We don't speak as he hands me my coat. I look at him and almost ask if he'll be okay. Then I remember I'm the reason he won't be. He steps back and looks at me the way you look at a photograph right before you throw it away. Not hate, not love, just something between. I say, take care of yourself. He says nothing. I roll down the path to the sidewalk, turn the corner, and don't look back. Later that night, I check into a motel on the edge of town. The sheets are stiff and the air smells like cleaning fluid. I stare at the ceiling and think about how quiet the room is. Not peaceful, just empty. Why did I believe the worst thing I could lose was my body? The final thing I do before falling asleep is delete every photo of us. Every dinner, every laugh, every innocent thing that wasn't really innocent. I sit in the dark and wait for regret to feel like relief. It never does.